Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. I am going to do a Scorpio reading. Scorpio Nation. What is happening? I might be a little biased towards Scorpio, just a smidgen bit. That is because I am one and I have the insight on it. A lot of Scorpio hate out there. So, welcome to yet another sacred safe haven here on the YouTubes. No sign hate. All have their own lovely little darling things to deal with. Right? Right. Okay. So we've got the Eight of Pentacles popped out. Working on something. Scorpio. I was working on something. And then the Page of Pentacles, an opportunity. We're working on an opportunity. We're working on getting an opportunity. Pink. Not exactly my color, but it is lovely. Color of the crown chakra. Ooh, that is right. Scorpio season. Downloads. Psychic insights. Opening that lotus to receive. I know I am anyway. What else does the universe have for Scorpio? So this is in a hat. I'm getting definitely up in your head. Some kind of mental alchemy here. Yeah, and with the mental downloads. Look at her little hat with the tuft on the top. Opening that flower. Open that locust. To spin down those downloads and integrate. Right? Following the light. And you're all up in your head. Letting that sacred swan swim. Swan swim. Okay. What else for Scorpio? Anything the universe wants Scorpio to know other than stating the obvious for Scorpio. What do we have? Okay, so there's winged creatures here I'm being called to ask. Okay. Butterfly effect. Okay, so what, all the little things that we put out into the world with not just our actions, but with our thoughts and with our words. Understanding that these things are gonna echo, right? We take our frequency to the grocery store, and our frequency rubs off on people, inspires people, possibly changes people who are not keeping themselves sovereign, whatnot. So taking those, I don't want to preach good vibe, like that's toxic, because if you deny somebody how they feel, you're essentially denying their healing, right? If you tell somebody, look, it's not healthy to be this way, you can't be this way, stop being this way, you have no right to be this way. If they need to be that way, then they need to be that way. Telling people stop grieving, stop this, stop that, stop, right? So until that particular whatever is supposed to be stopped is processed and worked through, it's not going to cease. They're either just not going to talk to anybody about it, or they're going to send themselves into a cycle of absolute trauma, basically. They're probably going to get in an addiction and self-sabotage in ways they themselves don't even understand. So when we put our restrictions on others and tell them, nope, you're not allowed, you can't, you're going to suck, this, yada, yada. Yes, give advice. If you climbed a few mountains and gotten that perspective, absolutely. Share, definitely. But I think that, trying to inflict those particular perspectives and whatnot on every single solitary person on the planet could lead to toxic things. And we're kind of seeing proof of the pudding on that one right now. So, advocating for personal sovereignty while speaking your truth. So what does that look like? Ooh, 3 of Wands. At the top of the mountain, with your perspective, staying grounded, keeping grounded. So people say that your hair growing long is going to give you more insight, because it's how you, there's a lot of cultures that hold the length of the hair sacred, and you're not supposed to cut it, because it is your past, your history, your DNA coming out of your body. So understanding that, like, the place that you come from is part of you. And who knows, maybe you need to cut it off, maybe you don't. I'm not telling you one way or the other. I'm giving you what what the card is giving me. So, and you know, if you have a hair appointment to cut some serious dreads off, do it. Set yourself free. Liberate yourself from that past history that's dragging you. You feel like it's dragging you back, right? And then there's some people that are like, I'm never cutting my hair again. That's okay. You do what you got to do, right? So in this card, even though she's at the tippy top of the mountain with a beautiful outlook, and her ship has obviously come in, and she's standing there in her lovely mountain dress. And when I say her, I'm talking about the energy, frequency, vibration of the card. So this is yin, okay? Notice how this is making almost a helix right there, right? Again, with the DNA structure. And it leads up to her head. So this up here dictates the rest, right? So she has the perspective of having to climb the mountain, and she's now become it. She is at the ascent. She is now holding her place in the universe, right? So the 3 of Wands, right? It's always depicted as 2 of Wands walking through a semi-portal, a new adventure, a new cycle, with a staff in hand, right? With your sovereignty, your power, your own authority, in true authentic self, right? You're holding that staff of power. Now, I don't know how many of you go hiking, but like, if you try to run through the forest with a staff in your hands, it's not going to work out so well for you. It's going to bog you down, right? So this might be hot energy, might be, yeah, now my fire's lit, I know which direction I want to go, but take your time getting there. Appreciate what you have in front of you, because you worked really hard to get where you're at, and those trials and tribulations need to be kind of integrated, and now you are being gifted this beautiful perspective, right? Look at all the birds flying, the vast, beautiful, what I can only assume is an ocean or an inland sea, in front of her, right? Take in the view, take in the beautiful abundance that you worked so hard to achieve. Take it in. Don't let it pass you up, okay? Because there's something to be learned from that. There's something to alchemize here. The pain and the pleasure, right? So that's how you make that bird fly, you know, dang it! I keep losing my definitions, you know, with the serpents going up the spine, or the staff. And then there's 2 little winged things at the top of it. That's holding, what that's a symbol for is holding the pain and the pleasure, right? Now, classifying this as good as bad, I'm not going to go there. So I'm going to spit out a Nietzsche quote. So, dear God, don't let me fuck this up. Bye, kids. So there is a place where love takes place, and I just fucked it up. There's a place that love takes. There is a place where love, every act of love is always beyond the realm of good and evil. I'm going to screw that up. I'll probably have to put it back down in the description below. I apologize. So what that basically means is, because we've pegged everything and are labeling everything and separating everything, we're seeing through the eyes of good, bad, ugly, this, that, and the other thing. Ooh, vicious savage. Hey. Super integrating new animals into the household. Are you done being weird? Leave her alone. Beasky. You're alright, boo. I'll be getting weird. Okay, sorry. Now, the chaos. So, good and evil. Hey guys, I don't think it's helping. Do you think it's helping? I don't think it's helping. I don't think it's helping, buddy. Chaos. See how that works? As long as nobody's hurting each other, let them work it out, right? Okay, so beyond good and evil, there is a place where love can exist. I think that's really profound. And I think that, for me anyway, classifying things as like good, bad, ugly, whatever have you, there's things that drive us to our knees that are socially acceptable. It's okay to be passive aggressive with our family. It's okay to say rude things. It's okay to tell your sister, your brother, your, whatever have you, boy, you eat like a bird. Why are you just pecking little things off your plate? Because that's gonna do wonders for their diet. Why do you dress like that? Why do you need to change your hair color all the time? Granola girl. They peg me granola girl. How sweet. So when we're talking about these things that are socially acceptable, right? These things that they've been getting away with it for years. Why should we stop them now? Freedom of speech. Your freedom starts where my sovereignty, or your freedom ends where my sovereignty starts. So if I don't like how you're talking to me and you don't want to change it, that's how much you value me as a human being. You do not want to stop speaking in a way that is disruptive to me. You would rather I sit at the table and just take your oddball criticisms about my appearance, about my diet, about my lifestyle, about how untraditional and unconventional my whole entire existence is to you, and that I'm some alien from outer space, and you just can't hold space for that. And then you get to wonder why we don't want to spend time in your presence. Take that perspective that you've just gained and turn it into wisdom, turn it into knowledge, and start speaking up for yourself. You got your staff. You know how to move forward. You don't need to be aggressive about it, but you don't need to tolerate any bullshit either. You don't need to use your staff unreasonably, or your stinger, whatever. Okay? we've got holidays coming up. Scorpio. We weren't given 2 pinchers and a stinger for no damn good reason. We weren't. We're protecting something, and it's sacred, and you don't need to explain yourself to anybody. What you do need to do is step into your own power and say, you know what? That may be, but today this is how I am. So, if you continue to speak to me in that way, we're going to have to distance ourselves. Does that make sense? Like, there's so many. Dan O'Connor, and then there's another video that I linked to explain to people that, you are free to think and feel the way you want, but that freedom ends where you're trying to inflict on me something that's not. I fail to see how having this conversation is going to be beneficial to either of us. So instead of being the way they're being, why don't you help? Why don't you give them something to do other than criticize you? Why don't you pass the blasted potatoes? Rather than giving me crap because I don't have enough on my plate, why don't you go clear the table, go clean some dishes, go clean up the scraps from the bird or the ham, whatever it is. Go do something else that does not involve you traumatizing me because you can't understand my modality for existing on the planet. How about do that? Give them something to do other than focus on all of your flaws, which, by the way, are probably things that they have trouble dealing with within themselves. How dare you be authentic and be yourself? I wasn't allowed to do that. You can't either. Tough gazongas, Uncle Fred. Okay, 2 swords, choices. Yep, you have a choice on how to use this. Like, don't go swinging that wand. Scorp. Don't go swinging your wand. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for your integrity, and it's not worth it. It's not going to help them step out of their trauma and treat you better. It's just going to teach them you can't be trusted, and you need to be a safe distance. And maybe, that's what you're trying to recreate by being so fine. If you're that way, sting. Okay. And I get that. I totally get that. I spent years in that mode. Okay, fine. I understand that you don't value me. You don't see any worth standing in front of you. So, sting. Bye. If you can't see that, then you need to go because I can't deal with that. I get that mode. I get it. It's a self-protection mechanism. There's nothing wrong with it. However, we can tell them in a way that's not so, right? And then how they respond to that is up to them. So if they respond in a respectful, caring manner, we can just say, okay, now I know where my boundaries need to stay with them. And if they persist and then come up with some bullshit, like, well, you're being overreactive and you're being oversensitive and whatever else, that may be, but I still am not going to tolerate that what you just said to me. That may be, but Dan O'Connor, freaking go watch his channel. Okay, so 2 swords. You got your choices. Who do you want to show up as? Your authentic self in your own power, or as a vicious savage little stinger? I know, it's tempting because it's tempting to step back in that power because it has kept you protected. It has served you for so long now that it's difficult to understand that. However, this is what the cards are saying. So the 10 of Swords, this particular deck, son of a monkeys, Tarot of the Abyss, has 2 10 of Swords. Okay, so this one is enlightenment, full circle. The owl is looking at the elder, and they are seeing each other through the eyes of compassion, right? Through the eyes of love and understanding and enlightenment. So, you know what, Uncle Frank? I know you can't understand the way I am right now, but I'm still me. I still show up as a human being when I come to these events, and it is not my intent to offend you. And this is just who I am. I hope you can understand that and respect that and treat me with kindness and respect regardless. Right? So maybe stepping into that verbal communication power. Okay, Ten of Swords. Knowing how to communicate in an enlightened way rather than whipping out the stinger and beating somebody over the head. I am not judging, Scorpio. I am not effing judging because, you know, it hurts. It hurts like a bee. And boy, oh boy, we are no shortage of Scorpio hate on the planet, unfortunately. And that's the thing. People don't even need to know your Scorpio placements or if you have any. They instinctively, we as humans instinctively recognize each other's energetic signatures, right? So that's what you're feeling when you walk into a room. So if you're in trauma mode, right? If you're in trauma mode when you walk into the room, you are immediately looking, where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger in the room? That's what you're looking for. So when you can remove yourself from the trauma mode and get into a space where your little amygdalas, your little cups, your little almonds that are sending messages into the rest of your system on how you're going to respond and react. If you can switch that mode over into the receptors of love and compassion, if you can switch that mode, and there's multiple different ways to do this. I'm not here preaching on which one you need to pick. If you need to get a therapist, get a therapist. If you need to go spiritual retreat, do it. Whatever you got to do for you, okay? When you get into that paradigm shift, the dimensional upgrade, the completing of a cycle, whatever it is, you enter a room now and don't ask yourself, who is going to attack me first? You ask yourself, who do I feel comfortable with? Not who feels like home and is going to attack me, because that's what I'm used to. Who do I want to chat with? Who do I resonate with that is willing to bring in something of substance and value to my existence, rather than someone who's going to bring in further trauma, further criticisms, further putting downs, further diminishing of my being. Okay, so you look for the love and the light in the room, and you gravitate like a little moth to it. Okay? Figure out if it's safe enough to shine in that, and then let her glow. Right? Okay? It looks good, Scorpio. What else is uni hot for Scorpio? Okay. Fairy Wisdom Oracle. That's what I'm getting right now. Just listening. Following directions. What does Spirit have, Scorpio? Fire element. Our beloved Phoenix. Boy, oh boy, if we don't know how to freaking go up in a ball of flames and rise from those ashes. That is the third of the Scorpionic metamorphoses, by the way, or the second, because Scorpio goes through two. We start off as a scorpion, right? Little pincher with our ting-ting. Then we evolve into an eagle, where we see things from a higher perspective and start integrating spirit. Then we become one of these, where we basically spend the rest of our lives voluntarily, mind you, going up in a ball of flames, sifting through those ashes, and making ourselves into a whole new being. Repeatedly. like it was Harry Potter, that little beautiful little bird in the cage in Harry Potter. That's basically a Scorpio. So if you have Scorpio in your ascendant, I have Sagittarius in my ascendant, but if you have Scorpio in your ascendant, this is definitely going to happen later on in life for you. Sweet little thing she is. Oh my, look at it. Can you see it? Not too different. Freaking cute. Okay, so my little phoenixes. And once you get to that point, it's almost an art, right? It's a science, it's an art. Is there any freaking difference between science and art? You keep doing something until it works out, right? Till that flow is created. Okay. Keyword is passion. Fairies are passionate about everything. Sorry, let me give you something to meditate on quick. Fairies are passionate about everything. We could take... Sorry, I'm going to rest my hand on here so I don't start shaking everything. Okay. There we go. Okay. We could take a few lessons from their playbook on how to live life. When you think of the word passion, for your first thoughts might be those of romance. Here, when we're talking of passion, we're talking in terms of enthusiasm. It is time to fire up your passion. What is it that would motivate you to jump from bed in the morning and eagerly face a new day? Think about the things that interest you the most and be creative with those thoughts. How can you turn your passion into something that rewards you financially in life? Well, that's Scorpionic too. When you find that thing that you most love to do, the universe will work with you to help you receive the needed support. You must trust enough to allow this to happen. Be selective about what it is you want. Desire, such as, I want to sleep all day and do nothing, don't generally pan out too well. Be realistic and think things through clearly. Then apply all your zeal to your goal and make it happen. Do not be dissuaded if it takes time for you to find your passion, or if it takes time to see results. Everything happens in perfect divine timing. The chant is, I wake with happy anticipation at the beginning of each day. I retire each night to the anticipation of another day. Nothing is too good to be true. My desires in life are directed by divinity. So mote it be. Set a goal today. All right, Scorpio. I'm sorry, Phoenix. You got this. So even though family events might be a little, whatchamacallit, you're going to step into this enlightenment and turn it into pure gold. Okay? This is going to be a beautiful holiday season for you because you're working on something that's kind of behind the scenes. You're not really telling anybody. You're alchemizing stuff, keeping it behind the scenes. But you know in which direction you want. So you're being a little bit quiet, right? But when others come at you, you're like, I see it and I understand it, but I still have a right to be the sovereign person that I am, along with respecting you, and I expect the same in return. Okay. Happy Phoenix season.